So when we take a look at the CT, and as we said this morning on a couple different discussions, we were linear up in the morning, very, very strong. What we call the railroad track pattern, for obvious reasons, has been strong all morning. We went on and we talked about the euro close and what that meant, and here we are at 12:30, and then you can see right up here, right around 1:30 or so, we start peaking. And we sent a note out in voice chat here saying, be a little bit suspicious of this. We could have gone up. Certainly, we don't have any big indications that we're not going to do so. But then we didn't make a lot of progress, and so I took my trades off the table. I had a nice ride up from that 11 o'clock, 11:15 time frame into this. And you can see now we're coming back and we're sitting right on the top of the top rail, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it, of the railroad track. We had a trader here. He's moved on to bigger things. Got his master's degree, and he was a family man. He had many kids and a corporate guy also. So he didn't have time for GE, but we have a lot of respect for him. His name is JB. JB always closed his profits when we were coming around this crossing of that upper rail. And I just wanted to alert everybody to, be aware of that. We're seeing that weakening. Prices are hovering right now at 6,003. So if you got into those 6,000, 6,005 verticals, you're probably at break even, maybe a little less right now. And, I'm not seeing any major signs of breaking north. So this is not a strong tape in the big picture of things. So this is, if you do have an eye on what Timber's streaming in his visual there, you'll see some weakness creeping in, and it's pretty much across the board, right? If we look at the Qs, a little stronger, obviously with the NAS 100, it's more noisy, and that's effectively what you're looking at there. And if we look at the SPX, we can actually see the SPX has been weaker for a good portion of the day and actually crossed over earlier in the day. Oops, that's not what I want. And then we take a look at the USC, the US composite, and you can see it too is crossing over. And this is the RSP that you see right here. This is the equal weight S&P 500, and we failed to advance much, much higher than, say, 1230 or so. So I think, in the big picture, when we're looking at things, and now we got this little tick downward from what we would consider big money. It's the only thing we've seen today, really. I mean, we had a little bit of an up jump here, but, for all intents and purposes, the big money, the smart money is not really doing anything today ahead of the inauguration. There's no urgency on their part to do anything. So this has been a retail day to do whatever it's going to do. And it looks like it might want to try to give back a little bit here. Glancing at another screen here, I can see we're at 6,000. So just be aware, things are getting a little weaker now. We can go just take a look, let's spin through the tools while we're here. Might as well. Let me go on down, and we'll grab Vol M, and that is definitely my go-to tool here. Let me jump to present, and then we'll grab this, and we'll see where we're at. And almost horizontal. So it's 60-20 on the upside, but we've been clearly transacting closer to spot price, and now we've got this definite bar down here at the 3 o'clock hour, right? So that's crossing the 6,000 strike. So that's important. And we've been all over the map in terms of the puts all day long, right? So if you go look at Vol D and that, you'll see there's transactions all over the place. But we're also pulling these down. These have slight negative numbers, so these are going to come down. But into this last hour, there's very, given this structure and given what we're seeing, I think we're seeing some profit taking go on. Now, just remember, and this is kind of important, so 60-14 is the center of the distribution. when I talk about that, that's important because it's basically telling us the center of the distribution is now starting to, let's see if this is going to print. There we go. Boom. I'm going to scroll on down. Here's the 1500, which is the 3 o'clock, which is printed. Oops. Let the machine catch up. There we go. Nope, that's not what I want. Try this one more time. When I am streaming, it seems to take a little bit more interaction time here. What I was going to try to show you was that we're starting to see, let me try this one more time now that it's freed up. There we go. So we're still showing some activity, but before, if you were listening, we were up at 60.30 was the upper, and then it fell off pretty quickly. You can see here now it's 60.20, and it's starting to pull to the left here. And so my thought process with price starting to trend down is that we're starting to close. These folks who were speculating here, and certainly maybe even back in this area, are now in the money, at the money, and are starting to pull away from that. And as price gets away from where these centroids were back, all the way back in the morning session, they risk losing their in the money status or at the money status, and so they would close, and that would put even more downward pressure on things. So, big picture, I think we're going to be, maybe a little lower than 6,000 into the close. I don't see a scenario, given this data, I don't see a scenario where we aggressively push higher than this. So if you wanted to, in this last hour, if you wanted to try to collect some premium up here, you might be able to collect $50, $100 per contract. I would do it risk, compensated, do a vertical or something like that. Don't be greedy, but very unlikely you're gonna see movement up into this area, just based on the information that we're getting now from the market about what the participants are doing. So that might be a way to pick up a little cherry on top of the whipped cream that we've had all day long today. Just taking a look here at so that was vol M. Let's go look at net stat and see if that's changed. Remember, we were dealing with almost exclusively across the board. Hasn't really changed. What has changed? So left-hand plane still all in the money calls, right? So that's good. But you can see the charm battle has been lost. This actually was working in our behalf. It was pushing things north. At least we believe it was a contributing thing to pushing things north. We've lost the 6,000 strike now. So the next key strike where we're going to see a major influence of the second order Greeks is now going to be down here at 59.90. Note we are in the last hour. When you get into the last hour, all of the second order functions, that's gamma, charm, Vanna, they all start to collapse. But they also have a very steep slope, and what I mean by that is their impact is more significant, it's more pronounced, but it's smaller, right? Because they're all converging towards zero, right? So because they're time based, and they're all time based at 4 p.m. New York time. So we've lost the charm battle. I don't see us recovering it unless there's some magical buying spree which starts injecting positive deltas into the complex. I think we're going to see more profit taking than anything that we got here. The gamma is only present but when spot price is moving, and it's moving, so that's important. We're at 59.97, so we broke while I've been talking here. We've lost the 6,000 strike, so hopefully you've kind of locked me out, and if you were into positions, you took whatever remaining ones you could off the table. Hopefully it was a profitable day there for you. So gamma, we could tend to unwind a little bit faster, right? So just be aware of that. Gamma think of a balloon that you're squeezing from the sides. It gets more pronounced, more vertical. In fact, while I'm talking here, let's do this. I'm going to refresh this. Let that do whatever it's doing while I'm talking here about this. And then Vanna, as long as we continue to see a vol reduction, we will see some compensating on the long side, some compensation on the long side for deltas. They're still working in our behalf, but because charm is imbalanced here and is heavy with these decaying calls here, remember the contribution from Vanna is also decaying, and it's getting smaller, although the calls are outpacing the in the money calls in terms of what Vanna's contributing to the downside. So this is all a long way of saying it doesn't look overly bullish into the close here. If we were to, just kind of take a look here real quick. Yeah, so here's the gamma distribution based on where we are now. Here's that COI, and this was at 59.98 when I did it, so kind of just sitting right where we are right now. And you can see, so everything, all these calls are limited to 1 delta. All these puts are limited to -1 delta if they're long, not short. And so we're only playing with the contracts in this range, which is only up to about 60.30 and down to maybe 59.75. And so what that means is market participants, if they're transacting up here, they're either freeing up margin or something like that. They're not really doing anything that's having any impact on the overall structure. And it's only those transactions, when you look at Vol-D, that are going to be in this relatively tight range, 50-point range or so, at 3 o'clock here, right? So this is literally 3:04 p.m. That we're able to even think about what are the potentials. We're still in a very much a call-dominated area, but look at the overhead here, right? So you go up to like where this is at, and you got thousands of net call positive deltas here, which are decaying, right? These are all out of the money calls. The net balance is out of the money calls. So these things are all decaying, but they're still very, very positive. But you can see what's happening. The influence over here in the real-time delta is that the puts have already taken over. So unless we get volumetric action that can really start adding positive deltas to the complex and start offsetting this net delta that you see over here in this leftmost column, we are going to have a really, really hard time to aggressively move up. So with all that said, keep an eye on Vol-M. Here's the latest print, and then I'll wrap up. So, if we start pushing aggressively up, this is at 60.10. We typically don't see a violation of this into the last 30 minutes. We did see one back here that I talked about earlier today. We normally don't see that for the SPX. And then down here, you can see we're at 59.85. We've got negative ROCs. These lines are coming down, right? So again, if we push upward, you might be able to sell something up here, get some premium for it, and then as we just succumb to this, right, to the overhead weight of the right-hand plane, you'll probably be able to collect some premium up here into the last, half hour, 45 minutes. I wouldn't take it into close. I wouldn't do that at all. You never know what's going to happen nefariously, but I would just, if you're looking to pick up pennies, that'd be one way to look to pick up some pennies. But I think this number is going to be below 6,000, and the gap that we're probably going to move right into is going to probably be 650, maybe 59.95 all the way up to 615. So a 20-point range. You might be able to do a condor in that range, or do a butterfly. You could even do a broken wing, because I don't think we're going up here. So you could favor anything to the downside with a short strike center, maybe at 60.20 or so. We'll see where we go. Hopefully this helps. All right, I'll see if anything happens. I'll pop back on. Thanks, everyone.